Good morning, everyone. This is Mel Melvin. Welcome to another episode of Doorway to the World. And this is a podcast today. We'll try to get this on a podcast. Today, we're having a very fortunate to have an author, John Mundall, who has written a number of books. And one of his books he's written is called Through the Looking Glass: Stories and Poems from the Road by John Mundall. You can get it on Amazon. And I believe it was written about 10 years ago, 250 poems and stories. And we had a conversation with John a while ago, and he's agreed to let me read some of his poems and stories from the book. He's got a number of other books that we're going to hopefully get here in the studio and read to you. This book, the first poem is poem number 45, A Poem to Pearl. Now, I talked to John. And his aunt Pearl was a victim of tuberculosis back in the before World War II. Basically, there was no cure for TB, and she was sent to a sanitarium. She contracted tuberculosis while in nursing school. Her name was Pearl Mundall, and John has written a book about Pearl as well. And he of course, and his brothers had never met Pearl because she died in her early 20s in Colorado. So it was one of those just sad stories. But what Pearl did was apparently re-record a lot of her poems. She had long nights in the sanitarium and so forth and so on. And she was quite religious, and she recorded a lot of her poems. So we know a little bit about Pearl through her poetry, and which we're very fortunate for those who are interested. So this is a poem and an entry number 45, again, in Through the Looking Glass: Stories and Poems from the Road, John Mundall. So we read it to you. Here alone late at night, I write this poem by candlelight. The sound of crickets come to ear. Phil and Hans are sleeping near. Our little camp is 'neath the stars, far away from angry cars. Tucked among the fragrant trees, there is a lovely evening breeze. And only I, with candle lit, by a table softly sit, while the gentle evening breeze whispers kindly through the trees. And with each flicker of the candle, precious papers do I handle, as I pause with great delight to read the poems of Pearl tonight. These poems I found not long ago in a box in Mankato, buried deep within a chest, a treasure kept from all the rest. And you were one I never knew, but how I search for every clue. For I feel between your rhyme a link of love that crosses time. How each poem with fascination ruffles my imagination. How glad I am you took the time to put your life in lovely rhyme. I only know you through this verse. I see your TB just got worse. But you were like this candlelight that flickers brightly on this night. In reading of the life you had, my troubles now are not so bad. Already I have had more years, and far fewer have been my tears. Your poem to Ruth fills me with tears. She was so young at 14 years. How you must have cried and cried when you heard that she had died. Your father too you loved so much. Your poem to him does deeply touch. You were such a child then, trying hard to comprehend. You took my mother as your own and wrote for her a lovely poem. Lovingly for her from your bed, your new sister is what you said. Your pneumo day got worse and worse, but you laughed it off and wrote a verse. A pretty snowfall caught your eye, or a winter sparrow flying by. And when you couldn't sleep at night, another poem you would write. Instead of lying, feeling blue, you would write something new. But My very favorite poem of all was about Long Lake in the fall. You were happy and full of fun, laughing and swimming in the sun. I would have taken you from the sand and placed you at Long Lake again. But this I know could not be done, so I'm glad you had at least that fun. The hour now is late, the crickets are a bit irate. Perhaps it is this candlelight that's giving them a bit of fright. These poems for now will have to rest. Resurrected from a chest, they've come to mean so much to me. They're filled with touching purity. From your poems, it's clear to me you took what came without sympathy. You turned your pain into a poem, 1,000 miles from your home. Bitter moments came, it's true, and lonely tears you surely knew. But somehow all came out in rhyme, rhyme that's lasted over time. I think we all should take a night and pause beside a candlelight, far from angry cars, beneath the lovely evening stars, and touch something of inspiration, and feel again regeneration, and cry perhaps a tear or two, but in the process feel anew. Tonight I want to walk through time and be with Pearl without this rhyme, and offer her a lovely rose for the kind of life she chose. Oh, that's so touching. John, thank you so much. And I will be reading more of his poetry and stories. So I hope you enjoyed that. And we'll get this out to you. One of my first, if not the first, poetry and story reading from my podcast. Thank you, everybody.